Why is milk good for us?
Milk is produced to feed newborns and has often been called a complete food. But why is it called a complete food? And what makes milk so good for us? Babies and newborn calves need a source of food that will help them grow and stay healthy, especially because newborns grow so quickly. Milk has fats, proteins, and a sugar known as lactose. They give us lots of energy for growth. Vitamins and minerals are also in milk, which are very important for us. For example, B vitamins, which help us get energy from food and helps our immune system, which protects us from getting sick.
What is bacteria?
Bacteria are among the smallest living things in the world. They just have one cell. Humans have about 3 trillion cells. Because they are so small, we can only see them by looking at them through a microscope. But even though they are very tiny, bacteria come in many different shapes and types. Some of them can be very good for us, but others can make us sick. We can study bacteria by growing them on something called agar plates. These are circular plates with all the nutrients, the food that the bacteria needs to grow. Eventually, the bacteria cells will multiply, and we'll be able to see them as spots on the plates. But during the milking or during transport to the co-op, bacteria from different places like the teat, the milking equipment, the air, the water, and the soil, bacteria can find their way into the milk.
What does pasteurized mean?
Pasteurization is the process that helps keep milk fresh and safer for longer. It's named after Louis Pasteur, who 150 years ago discovered that bacteria could make food go bad and also make us very sick. Although our farms and milking parlors are a lot cleaner and safer today, we still need to use pasteurization to keep milk safe and fresh for longer. This means that in the creamery, the milk is heated to 72 degrees for 15 seconds. That's slower than the temperature in the boiling kettle, but still hot enough to destroy most of the bacteria in the milk. Remember though, pasteurization reduces the number of microorganisms in milk, but it does not kill them all. So keep your milk in the fridge so that the surviving microorganisms do not multiply.
How much protein's in milk?
There is approximately 3.4 grams of protein in a glass of milk. Proteins are very important for us. They help us grow and they help us repair and build muscle. Caseins and whey proteins are the two main proteins in milk. In this experiment, I will separate out one of these proteins in milk. I will separate the caseins. When I add an acid to the milk, we see that the milk begins to change. Eventually, what we see is two different materials begin to appear, a yellowish liquid and a white solid material. The white solid material are the caseins. Caseins are very important for us. They provide us with protein, which are important for our muscle and cells, but they also hold calcium and phosphorus. Calcium and phosphorus help us grow strong bones and strong teeth. In the Irish diet, we get a lot of calcium from milk, yogurt, and cheese.
How do you make cheese?
We can make cheese at home or in a lab or in a factory. So we bring milk into the milk vat and heat it up to 73 degrees for 15 seconds. After pasteurizing the milk, we bring some starter bacteria and rennet into the milk. So when we add starter bacteria and rennet, which is a protein, it will break the milk into two parts, the curd and the whey. The curds are solid, clumpy pieces made from casein, the same protein that Sean talks about earlier, and the liquid part is the whey. Afterward, we cut the curds, cook them, and drain the liquid whey. Now milk turns into a very solid curd. Then we can melt the curd and sprinkle salt on them, pressing them and making them into cheddar cheese blocks. We usually have to put them in a storage room for a couple of months for bacteria to give cheese the fantastic flavor, and then it is ready to eat.
Why is cheese hard, soft, or stretchy?
So now we have some cheeses in the lab. You may have a question, why some of the cheeses are hard and some of the other cheeses are soft? The reason is how much water is there in a cheese. So the more water there is, the softer the cheese can be. Some cheese can be stretchy, like mozzarella, but some other cheeses, like cheddar, are not very stretchy. Why is that? Because when we make mozzarella cheese, the cooking and kneading procedures of the curd can open proteins and turns them into long strands. Then it becomes stretchy. In our lab, we use a texture analyzer to measure how stretchy a cheese can be.
How do you make low-fat milk?
If you went into the shop and walked down to the aisle with the fridges where the milk is, what do you normally see alongside them? That's right, you normally see cartons of cream. In milk, the fat is called cream, and because it is lighter, it will float to the top. But if the milk is left in a big tank, it would take a long time for all the fat to float to the top. So instead, we use special pieces of equipment called separators that spin really fast in circles. This forces the lighter fat to float to the top quicker, so it can be removed from the milk. As we can see in this test tube, after spinning it in circles really fast using this instrument. If I put water into this bucket and spin it around in a circle really fast, then the water should stay in the bucket, I hope. And this is because of these same forces. Let me show you, and I hope this time I don't end up getting soaked. And that is how low-fat milk is made, by spinning it around really quick and making the cream separate.
How do you make yogurt?
Yogurt is made using a process known as fermentation. Fermentation is also used to make cheese, as Leigh explained earlier. For yogurt fermentation, we use a different type of starter bacteria, and we don't need to act rennet like in cheese. To start yogurt fermentations, starter bacteria are selected and added to milk. The starter bacteria, as they grow in milk, produce lactic acid. It's this acid that changes milk from a liquid to a more solid yogurt. We measure this acid in the lab using something called a pH meter. So the smaller the number on the pH meter, the more the acid that has been made by the bacteria. After the yogurt is done, we can add fruit and cereals for more flavor.
Why do cheese and butter last longer in the fridge than milk?
When milk is not stored properly in the fridge or for a very long time, the bacteria in the milk can grow quickly and produce many kinds of substances that break down the milk and make it taste and smell bad. Cheese lasts longer because the bacteria used to make cheese actually helps to keep it safe and last longer. This is because the lactic acid made by the bacteria stop other bad bacteria from growing as quickly as they do in milk. Butter is made by churning or mixing cream until it becomes semi-solid. Cream is a mixture mixed of tiny water droplets and fat droplets along with protein. When we churn cream quickly and with strong hands, the fat droplets stick together, eventually making a solid lump that is butter. The leftover liquid is called buttermilk and is used in baking bread. The fat droplets in butter is what makes it last longer because it makes it very difficult for bacteria to grow in it. So this is why cheese and butter last longer in the fridge than milk.
What's the hardest thing you can make from milk?
It is called milk plastic, a plastic made from milk. We can try it at home. Firstly, we add some hot milk into a mug and add 4 teaspoons of white vinegar. You should see the milk form white clumps. They are called curds, like what we see in the cheese making. Then we mix the mug slowly with a spoon for a few seconds. Stack 4 layers of paper towels on the table. We wait until the milk and vinegar mixture has cooled a bit, and then use a spoon to scoop out the curds. Collect as many curds as you can and put them on top of the paper towel stack. Fold the edges of the paper towel stack over the curds and press down on them to absorb excess liquid. Use extra paper towels if needed to soak up the remaining moisture. Then we knead all the curds together into a ball as if it were dough. What you have in your hands is milk plastic. If you want to use the milk plastic to make something like a button, you can color, shape, or mold it now and leave it to dry on paper towels for at least 2 days. Once the pieces are dried, they become very hard, like this one.